Hey everyone, Steven here. So I haven't made a video in a while, but today I wanted to go over something that I've been thinking about a lot, and that is SpaceX's valuation. And I wanted to kind of break down the numbers, especially as Starlink is coming out. I pre-ordered one, hopefully I'll get it next year. And really just a back of the napkin calculation on what the revenue and profit potential for Starlink is. The short answer, it is an amazing company to invest in, really. And so I wanted to use this video as a way to kind of break it all down, sort of what I see right now and also expected, and if this is a good investment. And the short answer, it is a really fantastic investment. So hopefully this video will show you why that is and really go over the potential profits that this company can make. So let me dig into the numbers now. So over here, I have some notes about this. I'll put this in the video description as well, the link to these notes. But right now, I'm basically just calculating out based on how many customers we could reasonably expect them to get, and then how much they're making off of each customer every year. So in this case, it would be a typical household that needs internet services. They make about $1,200 a year from each household because it's $99 a month per household. So times 12, about about $1,200 over here. The current number of pre-ordered users is about 500,000. There's a link over here that you guys can check out if you're interested in that to kind of see where I get this info. And so if SpaceX can satisfy all of their current pre-ordered users, and that would require a constellation that is pretty much global. They have a lot of pre-ordered customers from all over the world, so it's not just US. And so that would give them about over here about a $600 million annual run rate. And considering that most, like the costs and expenses for this, of course, are the launches for the satellites, the rockets, building the rockets, and all the engineering costs and other costs associated with that. But the costs for maintaining the constellations won't rise dramatically over time. And in fact, as Starlink comes online, it actually starts dropping out as well. So in this back of the napkin example, I'm just going to assume we don't really know the exact cost, but we're going to just assume the costs are very minimal and put a 50x multiplier on the 600 million to get sort of a market cap valuation for what Starlink can be when they satisfy all their customers. Of course, the 600 million is not going to be all profit. And if we assign a 50x multiple on the profit, it's not going to be exact, right? But it's going to be mostly profit because the launches to maintain these satellites aren't exorbitant. And so that comes out to be about a $30 billion market cap if we have such a 50x profit multiple. That multiplier might actually be higher because there's a lot of demand for, just because Elon Musk is such a public figure, it might actually go all the way up to 100x profit, which is on the higher side, but not unreasonable for super fast growing companies. We can look at a lot of companies like Asana and all these other ones that are more traditionally SaaS based that have very high multiples as well. Especially a lot of them don't make profits, whereas this Starlink is actually profit mostly, if we can assume they can drop the cost of launches eventually. So that's about a 30 billion market cap based on the number of pre-orders, which they have not all fulfilled, but they are trying to fulfill that, especially as Starship is coming online and can be used for really ramping up the constellation and allowing more of a global user base. Right now, the user base is still very small, apparently because the launches are not sufficient to get enough satellites into space at a reasonable fashion. Um, Apparently they need a new type of satellite, like the next generation version of satellites, to allow the full, like, more users online. There's a max cap to the number of users apparently in a certain area. Apparently, if there's too many users in an area with the current technology, um, it just doesn't work for the existing satellites that they have up in space. But to get the new version of the satellites, I believe Elon Musk mentioned that they need Starship working, potentially because the satellites are heavier, or maybe the payload sizes are, like, they need more satellites in space or something like that to handle all the users. So that's sort of the bottleneck right now. It's really fundamentally an engineering problem. There's huge amounts of demand. It's just, can they do it right? Can they do it on a reasonable time frame, and won't take like many years out, but maybe just in the next 2-3 years potentially. So now that we know the current market cap, the next thing I kind of want to dig into is sort of what is the potential for this going forward. Let's say they satisfy all the pre-orders. What is the TAM for this, right? So the number of households in the US that uses satellite internet right now is about 8 million and then 400,000 households. And they are using really poor satellite internet. Like, the data amounts are capped, unlike Starlink, and the megabits per second is usually on the lower side. Some of these might be a little faster depending on the area, but they're nowhere near as good as Starlink. So, and a lot of times they actually cost more than Starlink as well. So if Starlink actually works, we can actually a lot more households will actually just move over to using Starlink for satellite internet. And this is actually not accounting for the people who don't traditionally use satellite internet that want to switch over, like me. I don't traditionally use satellite internet. I don't need to. There's actually fiber available in my area, or the traditional internet services. But what I get currently is actually very intermittent, depending on where I'm at. And so satellite, something like Starlink would actually smooth out the services. So that's actually another couple of million we can add to that. But I'm not, just for conservative reasons, I'm not going to add that. And just going to stick with the total number of satellite internet users right now in the US, which is about 8 million, 8,400,000. And so if we put them on the $1,200 plan a year, that's about $10 billion of profit if they can shoot up enough satellites. There really isn't any other competitors. We might see Rocket Labs or Astra or Firefly. If you want me to make more videos explaining sort of the whole ecosystem of rocket launch companies right now, I can go into that more. Rocket Labs is actually acquiring companies that produce satellites to potentially make a constellation of their own. So Rocket Labs could be a competitor in the future, but the satellite constellations that need to make Starlink work requires a very large payload rocket, which is Starship, right? And so, like, there really aren't going to be any competitors for like at least the next 5 years, if not 10 years, because a lot of them aren't focused on large size rockets, which is needed to make this very cost competitive. And so with if they, let's say Starlink addresses the entire US population of satellite internet users, that's about 10 billion in profits. Give that a 50x multiple again, and that's probably a $500 billion market cap if Starlink can just address everyone on the US. No, that's just in US. That's not counting all of the other countries that require satellite internet. And so now, if we're actually talking about, okay, Starlink can address the worldwide market, which it totally can once this constellation is in place. The global satellite users worldwide right now is actually about 43 million. And so at 43 million, you can see that's 6x the 8 million households in the US. So if they can address everyone globally. And so 6x a $500 billion market cap means about a 3.0 trillion dollar market cap for just Starlink alone. So the global potential for Starlink is about a $3 trillion market cap. If they can get the satellite constellation in place and allow everyone in the world to use it. There are scalability issues that they're running into right now. So we don't know if the future they will run into a certain scalability issue. Like, for example, they can't have that many people on the network. But if they keep on improving the satellites and they can get the satellites into space fairly cheaply, I think there's a potential they can solve that just with good engineering. But right now, yeah, Elon Musk has mentioned there's a engine production problem, right, for Starship, and that's the main blocker. Hopefully, they resolve that. I really hope we can see Starship launches starting next year, and really like start contributing to Starlink, because this is going to be the cash cow for SpaceX. A $3 trillion market cap in the long term, and that's also not including all the people that want to switch to satellite internet who were traditionally like non-satellite internet users. I'm talking about these are like people like me where I can't get good connection in certain areas where I'm at and things like that. So I might want to use like just put in satellite internet and just know that it works well and will always work without intermittencies. And yeah, so right now, not Starlink, SpaceX is about $100 billion market cap. So that's actually a really good valuation if we assume they can solve this. And so we can't assume every company will reach all their goals and address their TAM, right? We can see a lot of companies like Rivian, Nikola, and things like that, where their engineering chops really aren't at that level. But Elon Musk has a track record, and so we can kind of give him a benefit of the doubt on this. And yeah, so that's sort of the back of the napkins math. Let me know if you have any questions below, or if there's anything you want to address. If this video was helpful, please just leave a comment. Let me know what part of it was helpful, and I can do more of that in future videos. And yeah, also below, I'm going to put a newsletter if you're interested in ever hearing about opportunities to invest in SpaceX. I might let you guys know, just from if I ever come across an opportunity, I'll shoot out an email to let you guys know, or something like that. It is very hard to get in because it is a private startup, but occasionally there's openings and stuff like that. I'm actively looking and to kind of get into SpaceX as well. And of course, yeah, so this is an amazing opportunity as well. So just kind of wanted to break out the numbers. And yeah, just leave a comment if this was helpful or what part of it was helpful, or if you have any questions, or maybe there's something over here that I didn't address or wasn't as well made. Let me know. And yeah, thanks. See you on the next one.